Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So Bitcoin has finally done it. We pushed above $95.7 thousand on the daily time frame. This is a massive breakout for Bitcoin and could lead to a rally all the way up to $100,000. We're going to dive into the video today to talk about everything that we're seeing in the recent price action, including an analysis on the short time frame, key targets and key bearish triggers or invalidations, and what this could mean on the higher time frames if Bitcoin manages to hold these levels. As always, before we jump in, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And sign up to my free Telegram for more regular Bitcoin updates. If you're a trader and you're interested in my VIP channel, be sure to message me down below on Telegram. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Alrighty guys, so jumping into the charts, let's talk about the recent price action and the breakout that happened overnight for Bitcoin before we jump into the analysis of what's going to happen next, what are we really looking out for, and what it all means. So here on the 4-hour time frame, we can see the structure that Bitcoin recently broke out of. We had an ascending triangle over here with a very clear horizontal level of resistance, our sell wall at $95 to $95.7 thousand, and a developing uptrend against that sell wall. So buyers were accumulating higher and higher. We're seeing higher highs on the price action. Higher lows on the price action. And eventually after this RSI breakout, showing that momentum had finally flipped bullish at this level of resistance, Bitcoin saw the breakout last night. We had a 4-hour candle close above this horizontal resistance, and we rallied all the way up to $97,000, which is actually the next key short time frame resistance on the 4-hour charts. If we head over to CoinGlass to take a quick look at market data, we can see 24-hour volume is still a little bit low at -1% over the last 24 hours. Open interest is up as expected as Bitcoin's just rallied, and 24-hour liquidations are 40% down, of course currently skewed to the short side. So with 24-hour volume and liquidations kind of low, we can see there's like a little bit less going on in the market right now. There's less activity, right? And even just taking a look at the price action, the rally following this breakout over here wasn't as aggressive as it could have been, right? We went right up to that level of resistance, had bearish divergence develop on the hourly charts, and sort of immediately saw that rejection, potentially going back down to retest support here at 95.7. And one of the reasons that is if we take a look at CME FedWatch and Trading Economics calendar, we have a lot of economic news coming up in the next 5 days. So the next federal interest rate meeting is in 5 days, or just over 5 days, 5 days and 18 hours. We're not really expecting, or the market really hasn't priced in a rate cut, but over the next couple of days, we have a lot of economic news and data coming out. So for example, on Friday tonight, we have non-farm payrolls, unemployment, right? So that's really, really important, as generally that has a really big impact on the Fed decision. And coming up after that, we have, of course, CPI, where we'll have the FOMC meeting. So that's the federal interest rate decision conference, and a lot of that is going to be really, really important. So we're going to probably see a little bit of a pullback in the market, just as per usual when we move into periods of high economic news and these sort of really, really large events, because de-risking, moving into those situations is generally quite normal to see. But that does mean, though, over the next couple of days, if Bitcoin manages to retain these current levels in the high time frame and the news comes out bullish, we could see quite an extensive rally from Bitcoin, taking us up to the current liquidity zone in the daily time frame at $100,000 and potentially beyond that. So on the 4-hour charts here, what we're really looking out for over the next couple of days of price action, despite potentially decreasing volume and decreasing volatility, is sustaining the price action above $95.7 thousand, right? This most recent breakout point, we want to see that Bitcoin has actually successfully able to flip that level of resistance to support, and that's going to facilitate continued bullish rallying on the short time frame and a continued bullish narrative, right? Because if we fall back below the breakout point, we're basically invalidating the breakout, okay? And then we potentially move then to retrace these lower lows on the price action and our short time frame uptrends. So none of that would be particularly bad until we break down from that uptrend, so completely invalidating the structure overall and then moving back down to retest Bitcoin's 3-week long uptrend here on the 4-hour charts, right? Stemming from 78 up until recently, so about 21 days or 3 weeks of uptrending price action, and of course a retest of $98,700, right? We can see how the breakdown there would take us right down to the level with this volume gap on the side. So that's essentially our key goal over the next couple of days, is sustaining above $95,700. That is the key bullish validation. And while Bitcoin continues to do that, we can take a look at measured moves. What are the targets we have for this breakout? So taking a look at the structure over here, the measured move for this ascending triangle actually takes us right up to $100,000. If we apply that to the breakout point at 95.7, 100K is the key target, this green line mapped out here. But we also have a smaller structure overlapping this ascending triangle, being a parallel channel developed from these three contact points. 1, 2, 3. And that gives us a very slightly smaller measured move up to $98,500, right? Which is still obviously a pretty large move. And it basically takes us right into the sort of the next level of resistance on those higher time frame charts. As of right now, though, Bitcoin is still very much above this breakout level at 95.7. And with the daily candle close 30 minutes away and the weekly close 3 days away, we're potentially about to see some really bullish developments on the high time frame charts as well. So starting off with the daily time frame, let's talk about the upcoming daily candle close. So again, we're 30 minutes off that close, and what we're currently seeing is Bitcoin is entering for the first time since, a good couple of months, re-entering this liquidity zone from $95,000 to $99,000, right? We can see that prior to this breakout on the short time frame, we were really struggling to close within that level. We had over 5 days worth of consistent rejections from $95,000 here on the daily time frame. And with the close in this liquidity zone, what that essentially tells us is that we begin to travel within that zone, highly likely making the travel up to the end of that zone at $99,000. Again, validating those sort of measured moves that we have on the short time frame that took us to 98.5 and $100,000, right? So really key developments that we're seeing here on the daily time frame. And we want to make sure, once again, over the next 30 minutes, that 95K level is held. Now here on the daily time frame as well, is where we can see the significance of that 100K target. So if we take a look at the historical reaction to $100,000, we can see that generally when Bitcoin flips $100,000 from a level of resistance to support, right, we can see that through a push above resistance and then a retest of that level, right, with that red candle and a bounce, flipping that level to support. Once again over here, Bitcoin generally then manages to push above and create a new all-time high. This very first time we did it, we pushed above to $108,000, creating the all-time high in the 17th of December, or the middle of December. And once again over here in the middle of January, pushing above 100K and establishing it as support with that retest and bounce, we managed to push all the way up to $110,000 as well. So that sort of next target is a really crucial level. And if Bitcoin manages to flip 100K at that instance in that retest, and we manage to bounce, once again, it validates a very sort of high time frame bullish narrative for Bitcoin and quite an aggressive rally. Zooming out a little bit further to the weekly time frame, let's talk about the upcoming weekly candle close and why the maintenance of 95.7 is so important for the high time frame charts. So what we can see here after the recent rally is that Bitcoin on the weekly time frame has pushed into this prior weekly range starting at 93.7 and ending at $104.5 thousand, right? We can see when we lost that range, Bitcoin shot right down to 77 and 74,000, and it was the maintenance of 93.7 as support that sort of facilitated the chop up to 100K and above. So what we can see here is that if Bitcoin manages to close a candle within this weekly range once again, right, so at its current position, we will essentially start to travel once again within that range and validating or supporting the analysis that we're likely to see a continuation up to, first of all, the midline at $99,000, and then of course the weekly range high at 104.5K, right, and potentially even higher than that depending on how we see the reaction to 100K on the daily time frame. And what it also means though is on the short time frame charts, if we lose $95.7 thousand, let's go back to the 4-hour time frame, and we end up chopping it back below the current horizontal support here, right, the double bottom, or these three sort of points of retest of our parallel channel at 92.3 thousand, we will have fallen back below that weekly range, right? That's at $93.7 thousand. We'd be back below it and would have essentially seen a rejection or a failed sort of breakthrough of that horizontal level of high time frame resistance. So we've essentially got quite a important period of price action moving forward over the next 3 to 5 days, particularly with all the economic data. We want to see that the buyers are sort of retaining their position, and we'd like to see, that show of strength in Bitcoin where any selling pressure is being absorbed, right? We're seeing that a little bit on the hourly charts already. If we take a look at the hourly time frame, we can see that despite RSI printing lower lows on the price action, right, we've broken down from our RSI uptrend here, and we're seeing this very clear lower low situation. The price action is still, sort of in that higher highs phase, right? We're not falling below 95.7 as would have been indicated by the RSI. So we're seeing absorption already. We just need that to continue if more selling pressure develops over the next 3 to 5 days. Alrighty guys, that is a wrap on the analysis for today. Thank you for tuning in for another episode. If you enjoyed the video, you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And join my free Telegram for more regular Bitcoin updates. If you're interested in my VIP trading channel, don't forget to message me down below on Telegram. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setup, so the exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!